They call me the Sangi VC, okay? Sangi VC gets JNU the highest rankings. They are there, but then I don't think we are anti-national or tukde-tukde. So JNU is for the nation, not for any particular identity.
Hello, welcome to PTI and to our show at 4 Parliament Street. The name JNU conjures up certain images. Firstly, it is seen as a preeminent seat of learning. It is also seen as a place of liberal thought. JNU has been the alma mater of many prominent bureaucrats and leaders of our country. The names that come to mind are Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. JNU, of course, has been seen as a bastion of leftist student activism. Of late, though, it has seen a rise, a counter of right-wing student activism. And sitting on the hot seat is JNU's Vice Chancellor, Santishree Pandit. Today, we will be talking to Ms. Pandit on the 2 years of her tenure at the helm of JNU. Ms. Pandit, welcome to PTI.
Thank you, sir. I thank the PTI for inviting me. And I know PTI is one of the oldest news agency. And I'm very happy that you have invited me here.
I'll start off by asking you about your personal journey. Just tell us a little bit about how you were born in St. Petersburg. How did that happen? And now today you are the Vice Chancellor of one of the most prestigious universities in India. What was the journey like?
I was born in Russia because my mother was a comparative linguist. She was sent by the government of India, Ministry of External Affairs, as to start the India Studies program in Leningrad Oriental Faculty Department, as it was called at that time. She did her PhD in Telugu and Tamil. And so she was asked to start Telugu and Tamil, and she taught Shaivism because her PhD was on Shaivism in contemporary Telugu and Tamil literatures. And then you had Professor Aruna Haldar, who came there for Bengali and Buddhism. So these were the 3 languages that were begun in St. Petersburg, or Leningrad as it was called at the time. And they began today also her book, How to Teach Telugu through Russian, is still being used because the Russian chair is still going on. Mm-hmm. Only the Tamil chair was discontinued because the person whom she trained died in an unnatural accident, Professor Rudin. And after that, the chair hasn't been thing. Bengali is also going on very well. Purabi Roy went after Aruna Haldar. And I was born there in 1962 because of my mother thought Russia or Soviet Union was much ahead of India in medical. My father was in the Indian Information Service. So he was in India and he started his career, I told you, as a sub-editor in the Indian Express Chennai and Hindu Chennai. So that is why I'm quite, I know how media works and all that. So that was it. And then I studied in Chennai, sir. I came to India when I was 2.
I'll just interrupt you here. I believe in a very tragic turn of events, your mother passed away during childbirth.
Yes.
And you were raised by a Russian nurse for the first 2 years.
Yeah, first Russian government, and they gave a pediatric doctor and a group of nurses. So let me say, at least the communist system treated me very well. And they also brought me to India after I completed my inoculations because they didn't want to take any risk that if anything happens to me, that will again give them a... So they put me in quarantine twice, once in the Russian embassy in Delhi, where Ishwar Dutt and Chalapati Rao received me, and my father received me in Chennai.
So that was the first time he saw you as a 2-year-old, almost a 2-year-old child.
2-year-old child, he saw me the first time. And then they transferred me with medical certificates and everything. And they also did not give me my birth certificate till I was 18. Because they said it is I who has to choose whether I want Indian citizenship or Russian. So that created a lot of problems. But because the doctor who was the official doctor was also the doctor of the Archbishop of Chennai. So most of the schools, Christian schools, so he gave me a certificate. Mm-hmm. So that's how I went into things. So the Russians gave me at 18 when I opted for the Indian citizenship. And after that, when 70 years we celebrated in 2018, I went because they honored my mother and Aruna Haldar for starting the India Studies program through ICCR.
Is there a memorial for your mother in St. Petersburg?
No, they have what to say at St. Petersburg, the Department of Oriental Studies have it, yes, especially Telugu chair.
Okay.
Telugu chair is doing very well.
Okay.
But the Tamil chair needs some help, but this is doing very well. We have at least 50 to 60 students who speak Telugu even better than me. That's quite surprising. And that is something the Russians have been able to preserve at St. Petersburg.
Interesting. And then you, after 12th class, you stood first in your...
Stool, and then I went to AIMS. I got, as I'm a person from Telugu South, we thought only engineering and medicine were the only careers to take. All other careers were not very important. And as stupid as I was also at that time, I was a good mugger, sir, meaning I had good photographic memory. Whether I understood it or not, I could vomit very well. That's what my father called it. And I did very well at the 12th. I topped, beating all the boys. And then, I got the AIMS. I wrote the national examination and I stood 7th in it also. So I got AIMS. But somehow my father's very close friend was a neurosurgeon. And I wanted to do neurology. But then we were only 4 girls to 80 boys when I came. In 1980 this was. And I was asked to only take pediatrics or gynecology. And I didn't want either of it. And I didn't know Hindi also very well at the time. And differences in cooking and other things. And I was not very happy that the dean wouldn't allow me to
do neurology.
Take neurology, as though I knew anything, but I didn't know. But after 12th and with such a top ranking, some media makes you feel that you're an Einstein. I was on all the national newspapers. So then after 3 months, I left. Went back to Chennai, joined Presidency College, and I did history and political science.
And your grandmother cried and cried?
Yeah, I cried. She thought I'll never get married. In Andhra, we thought if you become a doctor, your dowry will come less and you'll get off the map. That was her and my father only told me that if you're 35% also, you'll become a doctor. But if you're 35% and a history graduate, you'll have to wash vessels. But then I took, and there also I stood first in BA and MA also, both from Presidency. My husband is from Pune. He's a Marathi.
But he's from IIT
Bombay. And we met because we used to work for the Red Cross. That's how we met. And he's very far away from political science. So at home, sir, we have peace. He doesn't know what I talk. I don't know what he talks. Then I taught for 32 years in Pune University. Yeah. I was a senior professor in the Department of Political Science. And then I was chosen for, let me also say, I never thought I'll become a Vice Chancellor because I don't have either the political pull. Because both my father and my husband are not politically, we are very middle class families. And let me also say that I didn't pay anything to become a Vice Chancellor. I don't know, many people think, that's a myth that goes around, and nor political influence. I didn't know any of the Delhi politicians or anybody. So I think, I don't know whether you'll call it a stroke of luck or the way of choosing Vice Chancellors has improved. So I came to JNU. When I took over JNU, there were a lot of problems. We were a highly polarized campus when I took over in February 2022. And it took me about 3 to 4 months to, convince them that I'm not the same. And let me say, in the last 2.5 years, we have had no major issues. Minor issues are there because we are a very politically active campus with different ideologies. But otherwise, we are done well. And as I was telling sir, QS rankings, I think you have the first VC, as they call me the Sanghi VC, okay? Sanghi VC gets JNU the highest rankings. Never in JNU's history, we have beaten IIMs and IITs. We have got the 20th rank internationally and the 69th rank also, which also, that shows that JNU is back on its track. And we have also produced 2 Nobel Prize winners. Amartya Sen was our faculty, and Abhijit Banerjee was our student for 10 years. So JNU, and also 3 ministers in the present cabinet, as well as state ministers. You know the ministers, Jaishankar, Nirmala, and Amitabh Kant. And bureaucracy, media also has a lot of JNU presence. And we are called the JNU Mafia. We are also in faculty positions in different universities. And I'm a proud JNUite myself, so I am very happy with my alma mater.
There was a period when JNU was considered an anti-national university. When you came into the university as the Vice Chancellor, did you endorse or did you see that opinion being reflected in reality? And what do you think the situation now is?
See, that was a phase, I think, where there were mistakes on both sides. I think leadership erred in the way to control. It's not that we don't have, any university has 10% lunatic fringe. It's not only JNU, any university in the country. And this lunatic fringe does not represent the 90% of the faculty. And also it is about the leadership, how we are able to tackle these people with extreme views. Everybody has it. They are there, but then I don't think we are anti-national or tukde-tukde. Because the Indian military gets to do, all of you know, all the defense institutes of India, NDA, IMA, naval academies, air academies, get every officer, whatever degree, comes from JNU. So JNU is the only university, thanks to Mrs. Indira Gandhi, by act of parliament, we are the only university that affiliates nationally. No other university, including Delhi, can do that. And we have the best research institutes under us, including Ayuka, Pune, CDS, Trivandrum, lot of institutes. And also, we also have travel and tourism, and all your PUSA Institute, all of them get their degrees from JNU. So JNU has that presence, though we don't use them for our ranking. If we use them, maybe, sir, our ranking would have been better. And so JNU, I think that phase was bad. I think there is mistake on both sides. And because of polarization and I would say the leadership not understanding, that's why many Amitabh Kant and Jaishankar, when they were on the campus recently, they said only a JNU alumnus should become JNU VC. Because, you have to understand because you have to be more democratic here. You cannot run it like IITs and others. You have to understand that, people will differ, they will argue with you.
So you're saying that it was never anti-national and
never,
it is
never,
not
sir.
anti-national even now?
Height of, when I studied, it was the height of the left. Where the left could win singularly. Today, the left has to have 10 groups to defeat the opposition. Even then, nobody was anti-national. Only they were critical. Being critical, dissenting will not be called anti-national. Because I think the Indian tradition itself, we respect the dissenter. From Buddha to Baba Sahib Ambedkar. So, I think also the administration didn't understand JNU. And that is an unfortunate phase, I agree, but I don't think everybody in JNU holds that opinion.
I think you took it from your mother, you are fluent in several languages, Hindi, English, Sanskrit, Marathi, Tamil, Telugu. So which one you like the most? And a related question, a lot of talk has been going on about Hindi being the main connecting language for teaching, work, etc. So what are your views on that?
I would say basically, I believe that everybody should be multilingual because India, I believe in ekam sat vipraha bahuda vadanti, meaning that pluralism, we have to celebrate cultural diversity. All languages are good. I'm not against any language. But for me, if you ask which language I'm the most comfortable with is English. Unfortunately, because my medium of instruction has been English. My mother tongue is Telugu, but I grew up in Tamil Nadu. So the second language will be Tamil. I like Tamil a lot. I'm very much at ease with Tamil. And then Marathi also, because that's my karma bhumi. I can read, write Marathi very well and even teach in Marathi. So Telugu, because mother tongue, I learnt it at home and others. Hindi also is my third language, and Sanskrit. But I would not agree on uniformity, sir. In either religion, race, or language. One language should not be imposed. If some people want to change to Hindi, some states, they can. But in the south, it will be where South, East India, even Maharashtra, I don't think Hindi is acceptable. Because let me tell you, many of you people think that Marathi and Hindi are very close. Please understand, there were two politicians who got into trouble for thinking that way. Shivraj Patil, you remember during 2611 was your home minister. Right. And poor man, you know, he was asked to give a statement like this, and he said, आतंकवादियों को शिक्षा देना चाहिए. In Hindi, shiksha is education. In Marathi, it's punishment. And poor fellow was heckled for 3 days that, you know, he wants this. But he meant punishment. The other was, you know, the governor Hoshiari on Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj thing in, Marathwada, where Sharad Pawar and Nitin Gadkari were getting honorary doctorate. Poor man, somebody told him, sir, aap Marathi mein boliye, and gave him a Devanagari script. And he used some word that had a double meaning. And poor man had to resign because this was on Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. And maybe he didn't mean it. So I would rather say that Hindi can be there, but I don't think a single language, I don't think both Nehru and Indira Gandhi were fools to talk about 3-language formula. Because in India, uniformity doesn't work of any form. We are basically anarchic. We don't like, even children at home would not like anything to be single color, single dress. See, in JNU, tomorrow if I tell everybody you have to come in a particular uniform, sir, first agitation I'll have. So I would say that in JNU it's not acceptable. You know, we had the left groups which protested against this. Even the Hindi Pakwada, you know, they are against. So there is a lot of resistance. Maybe it can be because it's the largest spoken language, but not more than 39% speak it. So let us go slow on it. I would say don't language and such sensitive issues, which, you know, people are very sensitive about. Especially in Tamil Nadu, sir, you cannot go and talk, even Karnataka. You can't talk Hindi and win elections. I will give it to you in writing. Unless you have strong local leaders, you cannot use it. You see, every time the DMK leaders, whatever they say is that so much money you're giving to Sanskrit and so much you're giving to Tamil. And they think Tamil is older than Sanskrit. See, whether you agree or not agree is a different matter, but this is something that hits to the local. So I think you should go slow on having one language, if you ask me.
Ma'am, recently, you know, your DU counterpart, Professor Yogesh Singh, had said that, you know, if saffronization means serving the country, then DU is ready for it. And there are, you know, constant allegations by a certain group of students and teachers saying that campuses are being saffronized. So what are your views on that?
At least JNU, we are not doing it. And there is no pressure from the, union government. Let me tell you very clearly. Let me tell you also, even an appointments, anything, I've had no pressures. Because I have never got any chit or any phone call from anybody. And they're so scared if I say the PMO has to be told that you called me. Fellows get so scared. So I don't agree, and there is nothing that has come from the ministry. If people are overdoing it individually, then I would call it, maybe they think such a particular group is in power, they think they will get. I don't think that is there. And I think they want university to be autonomous. And they always, the thing that goes when I go to the ministry is, JNU is autonomous, JNU VC is even more autonomous. Right? And saffron as a color, I like. See, I'm wearing one, I think. I like green also. I like bright colors. So I don't think you should put it with that. And I don't think any one religion or anything will work. And I think these are individual issues. I think the people at the helm want to do it. But as a university, I think we should not. We should be above all this, because for us, seeking knowledge is important and putting our best foot forward. So JNU is for the nation, not for any particular identity. Okay. We want to be inclusive, and at the same time, I always say JNU stands for 7 Ds: development, democracy, dissent, diversity, difference, debate, discussion, and deliberation. So, and for the nation. The nation is not for one particular community.
You have been very open about your RSS affiliation. How did that come about? Can you explain that? And connected to that is, JNU is considered a left bastion. How do you manage to maintain objectivity with this RSS background?
Sir, my private identity, see, somebody may have come from a left. See, that way, if you see, I'm born in Leningrad. My mother, that's so I think I have a better DNA than the left. My godparents were CPI stalwarts, Gopal Haldar and Aruna Haldar. I think in those days we were not so polarized. And when I was growing up, what happened is my father never married again. So that is another stereotype where people say men marry again, men are the enemies of women. I don't agree to that. I think I'm here today as a very young, very bold, independent woman, thanks to my father. And I think men are as revolutionary as women for women's rights. And at that time, my father didn't know what to say, how to keep me busy in a summer. So the Sevika Samiti in Tamil Nadu, in DAV school, used to run a summer camp. So I used to be sent to that summer camp from 6th to 12th. So that is how I, came under the influence of the RSS. And I don't want to hide it. See, those who are Naxalites don't hide it. So why should you hide it? I have not done anything that's anti-national. And I think the RSS in the South is not as politicized as you do it up here. And for us, it used to do a lot of social work. I know in Divi Taluk, when I was in 1977, there was a very bad cyclone in Andhra. And it was these RSS that reached first there for social work and other things and many of the things. So that is how, so I don't want to hide it. I don't want to tell today, no, I have nothing to do. I have a lot to do with the Sangh, and most of my values have come from that cultural thing. And even in Pune University, I was the Teachers Union Secretary, and I stood for elections for the first time from the, right wing, this thing, and I won, defeating many of the things, and that unnecessarily brought me into a lot of polarizations. But I don't regret it. I think everybody has different affiliations as they grow. And I think these were very positive for me because it culturally helped me to. And that is where I learnt my Sanskrit, because of the Vivekananda Kendra movement of Ekanath Ranade. And also Sheshadri ji, who was a very close friend of my father. So I would rather say that for me, the Sangh has been a very positive influence. And they never taught me any hatred. Let me tell you, out of my 30 PhD students, 5 are Muslims, and they are very happy the way I guided them. I don't think they ever taught me any hatred and other things. This has been my personal experience. And in JNU also, I think the left likes you if you're honest. Because I tell them, yes, I have these affiliations, let us talk further. Aur kya? Aage boliye. So they are also happy. It is only when I deny it, then you get what to say. So I think everybody can have their identities and still we can agree to disagree and come together. Because that is the beauty of, I think, India.
So have the left students who might have viewed you with suspicion initially, have you won them over? Are they looking at you with more,
Yeah, I say yes, because they think that from the last experience and this, that even that there can be people like me in the Sangh who are ready to, have a broader more flexible, and an inclusive view.
Great.
Ma'am, many critics have slammed the curbing of freedom of expression in the university, especially in the context of the manual being implemented last year, where fines have been imposed up to rupees 20,000 on protests in restricted areas. So, ma'am, why do you think this manual was necessary, and what was the thought behind this implementation?
See, this manual we didn't introduce newly. It was there earlier, only we made it more legally tenable. See, when students went to the court, and you know the left students are very well, lawyers like Kapil Sibbal and Prashant Bhushan and others appear for them. So we were told by the Delhi High Court that legally please make it. So the fines are there from very long. We didn't even increase the slab. We only made it legally wet. So that, we in court, the university. One thing is, see, when you come to a university and you're studying on taxpayers' money, JNU is one university that doesn't produce receipts. Do you know our fees is still 10 and 20 rupees? So the taxpayers are going to question what type of products I'm bringing out. So, and even if we want to the rankings, I think students will have to be critical, but factually critical. You can't just, brand and bring down anybody. So we have said what are the areas of discipline. They can still protest at Sabarmati lawns, but you can't close the North Gate. By then you're not allowing public transport to come in. That means you're saying that because I am poor and I am against these fines, but you're not allowing the poorest of poor who travel by public transport to come in. Those who have cars, I can use the other 3 doors. That means you're helping the rich. So my question is, you can protest, but you've come here to study. You're not going to sit here for 20 years. You have to finish in 5 years and go out, because I want more and more students to come and take this facility which is there. So I would not agree that this new thing has come, rules have come in now only. And these rules are very much in keeping with the constitutional laws that have been passed by Parliament. We only say that students cannot cross. See, my freedom stops where your nose begins. So we are just telling students to be responsible. You can't say anything and everything. See, JNU creates 2 illusions. That everything is free. Just go to Munir Ka, they know what is the level of, what to say to even pay and stay. Number 2, you can talk what you want and there is no consequences. Both of which don't exist outside the gate of JNU. And I don't want them to get into these illusions and delusions, because then they don't become responsible citizens of the country. You can be critical, but without hurting somebody else's feelings is very, very important. And I think I believe in Lee Kuan Yew's model. We are a very fine university. See, when it pinches your pocket, then you wake up. And let me tell you, some of the greatest leftist leaders have paid the fines. From where do they get the money? That means nobody is poor. And do you know there are students who have 4-wheelers and 2-wheelers and fight for 10 and 20 rupees. And some of the greatest people who fight for these rights have come from private universities. Manipal, where MA, 1 year MA is 8 lakhs. And how are you poor? See, I don't mind really the poorest of poor who cannot pay, taking the 10 and 20 rupees. Fellow comes in an SUV. Even I as a Vice Chancellor don't have an SUV. And they have Apple phones, Apple laptops, Apple watches. And then still we say we are poor. I don't have any one of them, despite earning so many years. So what I'm saying is, when I was there, at least JNU leftists were honest. We didn't even have a cycle on the campus. Do you know that? Most of us were walking or using public transport. Today, let me tell you, 50 to 60% students don't use public transport. They have cars. They have motorcycles that are more than 10 lakhs each. I don't know how they can afford it. So I call them BMW socialists.
How has the campus changed now since you were a student there? You were answering a bit of it, you have answered,
Yes.
but I'm sure you have more to say on that. And second, do you draw upon your experience as a student when Does it help you when you formulate policies or rules? Does it help you that you were a student here at one time?
No, it does help a lot because, one thing is we understand as students. See, one thing, let me credit JNU for. We don't have violence. Physical violence is not there. They write pamphlets. They're very strong. You have to know how to argue with them. And you have to know the words and what to say, the narratives they use. So even the Vice Chancellor has to be sophisticated. And now if you're a student, it helps you better because you are part of the system. And let me say, when I was a student, things were simpler. There was less of hypocrisy because I never saw it. There was only one boy who had a motorcycle, 85 to 90. And people didn't even have cycles. Forget cars.
He must have been the most popular boy if he had a motorcycle.
Not popular boy. He was the boy that many girls wanted because he would give a field trip at least around. Okay, and other than him, nobody had even a two-wheeler. And but today you come to JNU, there's no parking space in most of the hostels. And there are boys who have SUVs and even very high-end cars, which even I can't afford. Which surprises me that, the student population and also numbers have gone up. We were only 3,000 at that time. Now we are 10,000. And also earlier, all states were better represented. Now the highest are coming from Bihar. Bihar is the highest, followed by Odisha and UP. And now Rajasthan, Haryana have become a lot. The number from the south has come down considerably. And northeast comes, especially the scheduled tribe. Most of them are taken over by the northeast students. A lot of them come in. And so the student population also to a large extent has changed slightly, but that hasn't changed our character. And there is a weakening of the left also on the campus. Earlier SFI, and I was studying, AISF stood independently. They didn't need any alliance to win elections. They could defeat any grouping. I was a free thinker at that time. We didn't have both the NSUI and ABVP on the campus. Now the presence of ABVP, NSUI, RJD, all these type of groups have come in. And now the left needs to have unity of 10 to 12 groups. If you know the present elections which he held, nearly 1,500 nota, meaning you can see that students are not interested in either of the candidates who stand. And a lot of independents won as councillors. That is also another thing. And third is the left itself. The general secretary was not a left candidate, though newspaper said it was a left sweep, which was not right. She was from the BAPSA, and the left supported her to stop the ABVP to come in. So she doesn't listen to them. She says, I'm independent. The left supported me out of your own. So, and we have the AISF for the president, I think SFI for this vice president, and the AISF for so they have literally come together. So that shows that there is also weakening of the left on the campus.
We've known JNU as as a center of culture, which had a culture of dissent and debate. But over past recent years, we've seen a lot of people are saying that that culture is going down. It's on a decline. And if it continues, maybe JNU will not be the same institution as it was known for many, many years. What do you have to say about that?
It depends on who's saying it. I would say no. I think if that was so, then there shouldn't have been elections. I held elections. It was very peaceful. We had even teachers' elections, where again, the Junuta one, though there are two groups now. And ideologically, they're different. And I think it's because the ecosystem that was there earlier is now being contested by other narratives. And I would say there are as much freedom as it was there earlier. I would not agree that in any way freedom has come down.
Do you think there should be a fundamental change or shift in our education system where Indian values are emphasized more? Because as of now, it's very much Western oriented, right?
Yes. I know one thing what I say is ignorance cannot be the base in which we have an education system. And number two, you cannot say everything that is Indian is bad. That is something we started with. I think we have to take a middle way. I think take the best of the West and the best of us as well. And I agree there that we need to write textbooks that are more realistic. For example, let me tell you, Indian history, and JNU to a large extent contributed to it. Mughals who ruled less than 200 years occupied more than 200 pages of history. I'm not against, please Mughals, give them their place, they need to be given. But you have the Cholas, who are the longest ruling kingdom in the whole of the world, 2000 years, not even half a page. Marathas. Or even you take the Shatavahanas, Kakatiyas, you had Rani Rudramma Devi. Does anybody in North India knew that Telangana's pride is the Kakatiya kingdom? One of the greatest. Do you even know such a kingdom existed? No. And this is out of ignorance. So what I'm saying is that these gaps need to be filled because we have to be proud of all this. It's not, I'm not saying that, see, you look at everything from the religious lens. Please throw religion out. So what I'm saying is, let us not neglect. Everybody is important. I'm not going because on the basis, but what I'm saying is have a sense of proportion.
JNU is considered a very egalitarian place. You've got people from all over the country, and now you just mentioned that South representation is reducing, but still it is a very national institution. People come from all kinds of economic backgrounds, social backgrounds, and they all come and mix together. So how would you say JNU has contributed to the betterment of the society? And you think India needs more such institutions like JNU?
I would agree, because I would say, sir, JNU is the one that is implementing Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, Sabka Prayas. Why I'll tell you, because unlike IIMs or IITs, we don't get 9.5 pointers and make them into 9.8 pointers. And usually the fees is for upper middle class. Then there are very few people who can pay 10 lakhs. So one, we have a fee structure that is 10 and 20
rupees per month.
Per month. And 120 per semester. Show me, even a Harvard cannot compete with it. Okay, and then we also have 3 pointers, 4 pointers. We have got something called deprivation points. So the poorest of the poor can come to JNU and study. You can't, no other university can get. And we also have representation from all states, including in faculty. We are very diverse in our representation and students. And another, you will see JNU seldom, touch wood till now, they will never get a suicide, which you see, which is rampant now in IITs, IIMs and other places. One thing you must credit our students, with all their other negative thing they may have, but they will protect every student who comes in. Let's say a student has come in, she or he doesn't know where to get, they will pool together, pay for that student's thing and make the student feel as though he or she belongs to this space, epistemic community. So that is a positive, and I think you need institutions like this if you really want social and economic transformation. We make 3 and 4 pointers into 6, 7 and 8 pointers. We don't get top class students, who are 9.5 to 9.8 and others. GPAs. We don't get at all, because we literally take students who have never seen an urban space also. And we also have students who come from Delhi University, St. Stephen's. So it's a good mix where both, let me tell you, when I came to JNU, I came with 2 plaits and ribbons, sir. Can you imagine? Jokes apart, I'm telling you. And when I saw people here, I was quite surprised. JNU opened my horizons, because I came from a typical middle class South Indian place to JNU, and for me, JNU was an eye-opener. Because then I realized there can be differently abled people. I'll tell you, JNU is also the most friendly, disabled friendly university because we have ramps and other things for these students, and nearly 5 to 10% students come from this. We also have LGBT. So we are very, very sensitive to people's, what we say, minorities of all types, not only religious, but all types of linguistic and other groups. So I would say, if at all, that you must have more spaces like JNU, because that is where, because 80% of India's students do not go to engineering and medicine or even management. They come to social science, humanities, languages. These are the universities, if you really want to change, that should be invested in.
Even at the state level?
Yes, state level also, because states take more students than central universities. And I think the government of India should fund very good state universities.
Great.
Because there are very good universities like Osmania, Pune University, Madras University, which are doing very well, but because of paucity of funds, now they are literally being neglected.
Ma'am, do you think educational institutions should have a dress code, or students should be allowed to wear whatever they want, like hijab or any traditional attire?
I would say I'm against dress codes. I think spaces should be open. If somebody wants to wear a hijab, it's their personal choice. And if somebody doesn't want to wear also, you shouldn't force. That is what my belief is. Why in JNU you have people who wear shorts and all those times. And plus, there are few who wear, we don't have full hijab covering, but we have some people who do wear the traditional attire, but that is their personal choice. And as long as they don't force somebody else to do the same thing, I have no issue. Because I think food and dress is a personal choice. And I don't think institutions should make any rules on it. I'm against it. And I believe this should be a free space. Individual choice should be respected. As long as it's not asking me to do the same thing.
Election season now, politics is everywhere. Given a chance, would you enter politics?
No, sir.
That's not your cup of tea?
That's not mine because, one, I'm never politically correct. Number two, I talk my mind. And I think I'm a typical academic. I like to critique, and I'm very independent, sir. And I can be very difficult. So I love my independence, and I like writing. I think politics, is not my, and nor do I have the money, sir. I come from a very middle class background, and to sustain in politics, you need a godfather, which I don't have. And also I come from the South. You know, I don't even have that type of base, political base from which I can contest. So I think I'm very realistic. To be a political leader, you need much more, and even that appetite, sir.
So on the appetite, let's say you are given a Rajya Sabha seat, would you take it?
I would say rather I'm happy where I am, because I think Vice Chancellor should be academics more than politically, politicians or anything, because we're primarily academics and we are here. And I think government also would require people like us as much as to run the government than just only politically minded people. That's what I would say, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful. Thank you so much.